Okay, guys, so we're going to go over Google Sheets and how to graph data. We're going to do a couple different sets. We're going to do some stuff from the Cricut Virtual Lab, and we're also going to do some old data from the Bubble Lab just as sample data. So to start off, we're going to use the Cricut Virtual Lab data, and I'm going to use the humidity. And for humidity, you're going to see I have the minimal value of 10 and the maximum of 80, and I selected a few in between. It doesn't matter how close it is, but that's what we use. The chirp rate, as you can see, did not change, and hopefully you learned that the only one that it did change in was the air temperature. So I'm going to take this data and I'm going to copy and paste it into a Google Sheet, and I'm actually going to start a new sheet so I have some more room here. So I'm going to paste it in there. If you didn't see before, if you highlight and Control C, that copies the data, and Control V onto the sheet, and that will put that in there. And you're going to see I have no letters or anything next to any of the numbers. That's probably the most important thing to do, is make sure that you keep letters away from the numbers, because you're going to see if I were to put in any type of letter, so let's say ML, that's not correct for humidity, but put it in there. When everything goes to the left, it means that it's not recognizing it as a number. So as I take those letters out and it pops to the right, that means that it does recognize the number. So from here, what do? We highlight our information, and we are now going to insert chart. And this is the chart that it comes up with. I can change this if I want. I can make it a line graph if I wanted to, but I'm happy with it being a bar graph. But I just don't like the way it looks, because on the x-axis is where the independent variable is supposed to be. All the specific independent variables should be here, and it's not. So right away, the first thing that we do when we want to change things, if it doesn't look the way we want it to look like, is we're going to click this thing called Switch Row Columns. And we're about halfway there. It's not quite what I want it to look like yet, but I definitely made some good changes there. So next thing, use column C as headers. And this is probably what most of you created using the Cricut Virtual Lab. This might be the graph that you used, and it's okay. I think it's fine. It has the different humidities listed here, color-coded here in the key, but I'd rather those numbers be down here and chirp rate be up here. So I can right away, I can switch, if I go through, use row 6 as labels, aggregate row 6, I can now switch these numbers here and put them down here where the word chirp rate is, and I can switch them by clicking Switch Row and Columns. And like I said, I'm no expert at Google Sheets. I'm an expert at just kind of messing around with this and trying to make things work, and you can only figure things out by trying it. So by doing that, I now have chirp rate up in the key or the legend, and I now have all my humidities here on the x-axis, which is where they're supposed to be. So from here, what do? Now I need to customize. I'm going to customize the chart title, and I'm going to title this Humidity versus Chirp Rate. And I want that centered, so I'm going to click Alignment, Center. I'm going to title the horizontal axis as Humidity. I'm going to title the vertical axis as Chirp Rate. And I now have everything labeled. From here, I'm exactly happy with what I have. I'm going to select the graph, making it turn blue around the entire segment of it. Control C. And I can now go to my Cricut Virtual Lab, and where I'm supposed to put my graph, I can put it here. So I already put that one there. Did this before just to make sure I knew how to do it. And Control V, paste, and there's my graph. For different sets of data, different things are going to happen. So if we look back at my sheet 1 here, I have some data from the Bubble Lab that we did. And I'm going to bring this over to the sheet 2 so I have some more space for it. Control V. And you'll notice it doesn't really matter where I put it on the sheet. I could put it anywhere. Everybody usually starts at A1, but it doesn't really matter where you put it. And from here, I want to highlight, insert, chart, and once again, it's going to make a graph that they think that I want, and this is not what I want, okay, because we have all these trials down here, and I don't want that on the x-axis. The only thing I want on the x-axis is the types of soap. Okay, so I'm going to, once again, first thing, always switch row columns, and right off the bat, 40, 30, and 20 are there, and those are my specific independent variables. Those are the ones I want there. But I also want my key to have stuff in here to tell me what it's representing. And I could use row 6 as headers, and that will now create a key or a legend for me. I'm happy with the way this looks. I can customize it using the chart axis titles, and I can change that in each one of these options here. You'll sometimes notice when you do this that not every bar shows up. So for example, if my y-axis, my dependent variable, starts at 10, you'll notice that my bar over here disappeared. So you might see that. So if your bar disappears here in the middle, the only thing you have to do is select these numbers, just click it so that this turns into a blue box. And all you have to do is look at underneath Customize where it says minimum and maximum value. You just want to make sure your minimum value is 0, and that allows all the bars to be there so you can see it. So those are most of the problems that you're going to encounter using Google Sheets. Hopefully this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, shoot me an email or message on Google Classroom. All right, thanks for watching.